Hello, YouTube. Today I'm talking about the demise and failure of Elite Dangerous, at least according to some in R Gaming on Reddit, as well as cross-posted to the Elite Dangerous subreddit, as well as the Star Citizen subreddit as a danger, Will Robinson. This is not what to do, CIG, when it comes to your game, because we want you to create the game that we've wanted in our mind's eye. Eve 2.0 with cockpits. Cough, cough. Oh, sorry. Apologize. It's April. Oak pollen in the air, allergy season. My apologies about that. At any rate, I have a little bit of a different perspective here. Back in November, December of 2014, as 1.0 of Elite Dangerous loomed on the horizon, one of the comments that I made was that it was a game that I felt was going to end up disappointing a lot of people who were incapable of essentially crafting a self-motivated narrative, going into the game world and going and enjoying for what it is. If you need somebody else to tell you what to do and how to do it, whether it's through a social construct like a guild or a corp or an organization, or whether it's through the game developers themselves crafting a unique storyline where you get to be kind of the big damn hero and everybody else is a big damn hero too, you are ultimately going to be disappointed in Elite Dangerous. And I think whenever you look at these subreddits post in the comments that people on these articles and things like that make, that they are certainly of that demographic who were disappointed in what Elite Dangerous is not, because that's what they wanted it to be, and instead of taking for what it is. Now, I've heard the comment made that Elite Dangerous is a dad game, and I'm fully understanding where they're coming from, and I don't think that they're incorrect about that. If you look at the demographics of the people who largely backed Elite Dangerous, especially in the earlier stages, probably a lot of us are 35 years of age and older. We grew up in an era before there was an internet. We played games like Elite Dangerous, or I should say Elite and Elite Frontiers, and we're looking for Elite Dangerous to be another Elite game. And to those of us, I don't think we've been largely disappointed. That's not to say that there isn't fair criticisms of Frontier, and certainly the way that the Horizons launch was handled was a boondoggle. But this is also Frontier's first foray into multiplayer gaming as well as self-publishing. They don't have a large marketing and PR department of, say, a Microsoft or some other EA type entity to fall back on and rely on to provide what pricing points and stuff like this. They're learning through trial and error. And they've made missteps. Horizon should have been a $20 pre-order DLC, given the fact that a lot of things that should have been in Elite Dangerous, I think, is a fair criticism as of 1.0, power play, wings, community goals, things like that probably should have been there before you called it 1.0. As a way of saying thank you to backers and early adopters for sticking it out. And then maybe up that to a $30 pre-order if you already owned Elite Dangerous at a later date. If you didn't order by, say, the 15th of October or the 15th of November or the 15th of December, that could have been an arbitrary date. I think that things would have gone over a lot better. Instead, people who just bought the game in July for $60 were just told in August, guess what? If you want Horizons, you got to spend another $60. And that led to a lot of people going, F you. And I don't necessarily say that they don't have a legitimate complaint there. I hope that Frontier has kind of learned from their mistakes. The other claim at Elite Dangerous, which I don't necessarily disagree with, is that it's a mile wide, an inch deep. But I keep always saying it depends on how fast the water in that channel is moving. If it's moving at a steady, moderate pace, water will start to cut a deeper and deeper channel. I don't know if you've ever been around a flash flood or something like that, but what a little bit of water or a lot of water can do in a very short period of time, if it's moving fast enough, is actually quite rather amazing. And up until this point, Frontier has been delivering at a moderate, steady pace with roughly new content every 6 to 8 weeks. And this is going back almost 2 years at this point, at least for me as a premium beta backer, and has watched it continue to evolve continually. And I've been satisfied with that pace of development. Something else to keep in mind that with this dad demographic being, I think, a large number of purchasers of this game, we're also going to be a little bit more patient because many of us are old enough to have remembered a few other games that on launch seemed that we burned through all of the content and complained and saw people complain that I'm done, I'm bored, there's nothing else to do, this is stupid. And then if you look at those games today, they're still around with a hell of a lot more content because they've been in continual and active development for 10 years. EVE Online, that first 2 or 3 years, was a shallow experience compared to what it is today. Same thing with Star Trek Online. It was dubbed a complete failure after a year after launch because of lack of content and things like that. And if you compare Star Trek Online in 2009, 2010 to where it is today, totally different environment. A lot more things to do. It's not the same 5 dilithium missions to do and attack the Borg over and over again. And the same thing's going to happen with Elite Dangerous here. Now, that being said, they've got to seriously start peeling back that onion and delivering on a more in-depth universe. And something that they came out and said in February that struck me particularly well was that David Braben came out and said, look, we designed the game to operate like this. There's many missions and many things to be seen and do in the Elite Dangerous universe that nobody has seen. Why? We thought that this would be how people would play the game, but instead what we're finding according to the data is that people are essentially doing the same few actions over and over again. I think that they didn't understand that folks have been conditioned over the past 10, 15 years with min-maxing RPG, MMO type games into figuring out what is the most profitable thing to do and then do that over and over and over again. And then without a push to go do something else, they won't. And Elite Dangerous up until this point has lacked that push. Typically, this would come from, again, a guild or organizational leader or through additional crafted story narratives that game developers put into their games. And those elements not being present in in Elite Dangerous has kind of led to this, I don't want to say backlash, but disappointment. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens in 2.1. What's happening in Elite Dangerous is similar to what happened with with Star Citizen last year, when there was basically very little in terms of development between March of last year and November of last year. And as a result, as it started getting around August and September, people kind of started asking, where's the beef? Where's the beef? Where's things that we can actually see the progress being made? Because we see videos, but none of us are actually able to experience. And basically, the water channel stopped moving. It became stagnant and started breeding mosquitoes. And with this delay of 2.1, this is kind of what's happening with Elite Dangerous right now. That being said, 2.1 does need to be a substantive overhaul to start giving players that push to start going into a direction to find some of these things. And hopefully from what they're sounding like or what they're saying, they'll be able to deliver upon that. So I'm willing to give it time. I'll make my pronouncement whether or not Elite Dangerous has been a success or a failure about July of 2017. Until then, I've got a couple billion credits ground out over 1,000 hours of playing the game in the course of the past year. I'll do what my friends did whenever they announced the delay of engineers. We're going to go do something else for a little while. We'll be back in June. So these things about player count going down and down and down, yes, that's going to be true. We'll see what happens in June, July, and then probably later on this fall. It's going to be summertime. People like me who are dads are not going to be playing the game. Dads have other things to do in the summertime, like mow the yard and not a father yet, but I assume take kids to baseball games and swim meets and things of that nature. So life gets busy. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you out there in multiple universes. See you later.